The Home Ministry is seeing red over Justice Verma's report. Sources in the Home Ministry have told Headlines today that Justice Verma has exceeded his brief. In fact, presenting his report, remember that the former Chief Justice of India had been scathing in his attack against the Home Secretary for patting the Delhi Police Commissioner's back for arresting the gang rape accused so quickly. Kamaljeet Sandhu, our correspondent, now joins us with more details. Kamal, why is the ministry so worked up about a view that Justice Verma is entitled to hold and also share with the people and media?
Well, definitely what Justice Verma did was he exceeded his brief. This was the saying of one of the senior officials in MHA, and the reason is that besides talking about the amendments made in law and the suggestions that and recommendations Justice Verma committee had come up with, he made a lot of personal remarks, which included remarks on the Home Secretary, which included remarks on the DGP's, the political state of affairs, saying how people are disappointed. The fact is that he was supposed to make a mere presentation where he was supposed to come up with suggestions and recommendations, but he clearly talked about a whole lot of other issues. A lot of people would empathize with that and perhaps also feel that what he had talked about is something what a common man on the street would also want to reiterate. But clearly on a platform like this, many felt that he had clearly exceeded his brief.
Kamal, aren't these being used as distractions really to take the focus away from the core issue as to when really will these recommendations be adopted by the government and laws will be created accordingly?
Well, 1 month was the time which was given to Justice Verma. They have completed it within 29 days and handed over the report. What we know is that the report now will go to the standing parliamentary committee. They will ponder over it. The suggestion which has been included also in the criminal amendment law bill, which also will be seen along with this. There were certain recommendations which were made by the DGs, which was informally also sent to Justice Verma committee. That will also be seen in a separate light. All this will be included, and they're saying it's not politics over this particular bill, but they're saying clearly it will be done, it will be seen in that. And there would be a certain progression as in the next step would be that the politicians would really go through and see whether this is practical or not. We've also been speaking to certain experts who believe that a lot of these bills, these amendments have already been included in the new Amendment Bill Act.
All right.
But they say there is a certain amount of impracticality in a certain thing, like we can mention 376F, where breach of responsibility, the person in charge, whether it's an army officer or whether it's a police officer who's a man or somebody in the unit would have been part of a certain crime against women, would be held accountable. Many people say this is not practical at all. Then again, there are certain issues where a female constable or a person in charge should definitely be present while recording the statement has been made mandatory by Justice Verma committee. But it is not really possible to have women constables everywhere.
All right, come stay on with us. Let's also quickly connect to editor Gaurav Sawant, who's with us from the newsroom. Gaurav, is the Home Ministry just getting unnecessarily worked up about comments that were made by Justice Verma? After all, he is entitled to share his views with the media. If he felt that the Home Secretary was not correct in patting the Delhi Commissioner's back over the issue, shouldn't he be saying that?
Oh, indeed, he should be. Clearly here, the Home Secretary is perhaps feeling miffed because, Justice Verma is calling a spade a spade. The Home Secretary actually had no business praising the Delhi Police Commissioner for quickly solving the case, especially when it came to light subsequently when the eyewitness in this case and the victim's friend spoke to the media how the Delhi Police wasn't even willing to lift the victim and carry her to the hospital and how they kept fighting about jurisdiction. So the Delhi Police did not deserve a pat on their back. They were simply subsequently in solving this case, they did their job. But what they should have done initially, they failed to do. Also, the tints on buses, tinted glasses on window panes on buses and cars, all of this is completely unacceptable behavior on the part of the Delhi Police, and the Delhi Police did not deserve a pat on their back. This is something where the Home Secretary, R.K. Singh, could have actually pulled up the Delhi Police instead of patting them on the back and glossing over these issues. But that's just point one. Point two, the laid-back attitude of the government and especially the Ministry of Home Affairs. Justice Verma very clearly criticized the Home Ministry where he said they set up the committee, but they don't send their recommendations on time. This shows the attitude of the Home Secretary and the department and the government department that is actually running. At 5:30 p.m. the report was to be submitted on Tuesday, and around 5:30 p.m. recommendations were being sent. That's point 2. Point 3. Director Generals of Police across the country, they were asked for their suggestions. They did not make their suggestions, and this goes on to show the attitude of the police, the change that's required in the attitude of the police. That is not coming. What is the Home Secretary doing? It's his duty, it's his responsibility to ensure that the DGPs respond, but that also did not happen. So clearly there are many issues here that the Home Secretary needs to answer, instead of saying that Justice Verma exceeded his brief.
Well, absolutely, and in many ways even the attitude of the Home Ministry at this point of time is being betrayed by the fact that they are miffed over this comment of Justice Verma rather than looking at the recommendations. In fact, we have with us social activist Ranjana Kumari and also rights activist Utsav Benz with us. Let me first go across to Utsav. Utsav, do you feel that what the Home Ministry at this point in time is trying to drive through, that Justice Verma exceeded his brief by criticizing the Home Ministry, the Delhi police, is something that they should be doing at the moment, really, when they should be looking at the recommendations?
See, these kind of comments are totally shameful. They only show that the Home Ministry is insensitive. And to cast aspersions on someone like Justice Verma, who the country knows is one of the most honest judges we've had, that's very shocking. Secondly, what is most important here is that the facts of this case are that the rape happens in Delhi. The police officers, rather than acting in a sensitive manner, are totally insensitive. If you still remember, when the Home Secretary, as I think Gaurav was saying, when the Home Secretary gave that compliment to the Delhi Police Commissioner, there was a smirk on the Delhi Police Commissioner's face, as if he's got away with it. And look at the way the Delhi Police Commissioner then behaves. He orders that there should be a lathi charge on he behaves like a gunda. I mean, I find him behaving like a gunda. The way he behaved with protectors, the police was beating up ladies, young children, even media persons were beaten up. I mean, this, after the Justice Verma Commission's recommendation, the government should immediately sack the police commissioner. Because if we continue to have police commissioners like the Delhi Police Commissioner, the feeling that you can get away with anything and the feeling that there is no accountability in the system will persist. Gaurav is right when he says that these people are insensitive, and unless and until no head rolls, these 10 bits might happen, things will not change. A system of accountability must operate.
Well, absolutely. A system of accountability has to be put in place. Let me go across to Ranjana Kumari now. Ranjana ji, do you see the situation as a mere distraction really that perhaps is being put out at the moment to take the focus away from the concrete recommendations that have been made and something that can be taken up in the next session of Parliament?
I think the reactions are not surprising because, even the presentations, because I've been part of the deliberations, I know that there was lukewarm, response to Verma Commission as far as the government representatives were concerned. They did not appear, and even of the people who appeared were very junior officers. So, in that sense, it almost looked like that it was not being taken seriously. And also, since Commission report has fixed accountability, certainly there is bound to be reaction, and that divide looks almost very clear that on the one side, the government and the officials are trying to defend, protect themselves. On the other side, Verma Commission has come out with the spirit and sense of women's movement in terms of whatever the recommendations are. Because the recommendations clearly are departure from the way we look at sexual violence against women, the way we look at women's own control over her body and sexuality, the way we look at a punishment framework, and also establishing the accountability on political leadership. Sexual offenders are there if they are there in the parliament and state legislators. We have also a commission recommending that, nobody should be let out with impunity. So all that certainly is hurting somewhere. This is serious report. And this needs to be taken cognizance of, and government must act upon it now. So now this is nothing very new that when such serious, path-breaking, society-changing recommendations are made, then definitely there is going to be a lot of reaction and response.
All right.
But hopefully government is listening, and government is listening to people and young people of the country, and will come forward for these changes.